Hello everybody, this video is a little different. I'm sitting on my scooter on my way home. So like I said in my other video, I try to get out every 2 or 3 days, mainly because isolation is not a good thing. So I try to get out of my apartment every 2 days, and 2 or 3 days. And so I didn't go out yesterday, but I said I would go out today, and I did. It was completely different. The feel that I had a couple days ago when I made my other video, it still kind of felt like Shanghai. It just felt like Shanghai with Spring Festival feel to it. So everything was still closed, Spring Festival kind of feel. Today was completely different. I think probably because it is Saturday, maybe they upped the ante a little bit. So I have a couple photos. They're not great quality, but here's just a couple photos real quick. So basically, so I walked into the Starbucks. I went into Family Mart first because I figured I'd grab my stuff that I wanted to grab, and then I'd go into Starbucks and hang out for a little bit. The part of the problem is that my internet at home is not connecting with any of my American devices. I don't know what's happening, but it's not picking it up, and it's been that way a few days. So I can't use any of my American devices in regards to internet or anything like that. So I try to utilize public Wi-Fi when I'm out and about to download things or do whatever I got to do on my devices. However, so that's part of my hanging out at Starbucks forever thing. Plus, like I said, isolation. So I went to the Starbucks and I went in, and as you saw in that photo, I was completely confused. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And of course, I don't speak Chinese, and that's my fault. That's nothing. I'm in their country, so I'm nothing negative about us not being able to communicate. That's on me. But I look at a woman, I'm like, hello, and she just kind of waves at me, and then she's kind of like, I don't work here, which I knew. But I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I kind of went outside and I thought, well, I'll go to a different Starbucks. But I started thinking about it, and I'm like, if it's like this at all the other Starbucks, why would I waste my time driving around? So I thought, well, I'll go into Papa John's or Burger King because they have Wi-Fi. And I walked by Papa John's because really all that I could really eat there is like pizzas and pastas and stuff that I don't feel like is really healthy, because I'm not eating a lot of meats and stuff because I don't cook, and I'd have to order in food. So I walked past Papa John's and went into Burger King, and I said, oh, there's, they have Wi-Fi. I could just sit in this one corner and utilize their Wi-Fi for a little bit. Then I can find a way to grab a coffee and go home. So I walk up to the counter, and she points to a sign. And then I'm like, I have no clue what that says. So I used my Dear Translate to figure it out. And it said, due to trying to fight this contagion, we're limiting contact with people. So you either have to use your phone or the screen. McDonald's has the big ordering screens. This Burger King does not have that. So I download the app, but I don't even know. The woman basically pointed at it and walked away. I didn't know if I was picking the right Burger King, because they were all in Chinese. I can't read Chinese either. And I'm sitting there and I wanted to ask, is this the one? And it just felt like overwhelming. I get overwhelmed very easily. If things are antisocial to like a degree where I kind of feel like it's better to walk away, I will usually walk away. If something is too much for me in a social situation, especially with a language barrier, I will not bother. So I stood there for a minute kind of assuming I picked the right one, but the thought of me not picking the correct Burger King and ordering food that I wouldn't get didn't appeal to me, so I walked out. I looked at Papa John's again, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling like sitting there eating pasta and whatnot. So I went on to Starbucks, and I actually stood outside for a little bit and ordered through the app because I figured that's what they're doing in there. And then I walked back in and I waited I completed my order inside, and then I waited for my food to be delivered, and then I went into McDonald's. They checked my temperature in McDonald's and filled in a log. I ordered my food through their screen, picked it up, and I was gonna go sit upstairs and use their Wi-Fi, but I said this is too much, and I headed home. So the feel here is a lot more, I don't want to say oppressive, because that's not the right word, trying to find the word, but it just feels more paranoid. And I get it. I'm not discrediting safety measures. Everybody has to wear masks everywhere they go. I have my mask. I just took it off for the video. And the people with the food and serving food and doing all that jazz, they're always wearing masks and gloves and everything. But we're still having the contact. And I found out that the virus can actually stay alive on stuff. That caused an amount of paranoia for me for a minute. So essentially, if the circumstances are right, I think it was like 7 days. If it's like a moist environment, that the virus can stay alive and active on something 7 days. And then you look at, I think in a dry environment, it was 24 to 48 hours maybe. So this virus doesn't die quickly in the air. It's not airborne, but if I have it and I go and then I put something in a box and ship it somewhere, that virus is active in that box. I'm not saying that to be a fearmonger or anything. It's just to be hyper aware. So I had ordered stuff. I've ordered tons of stuff before Spring Festival, and I've had maybe 2 packages arrive since I've last had things arrive. Since before Spring Festival, I guess. So I've had 2 things arrive. And the thing that arrived recently was my Lucky Charms. I found a place to order Lucky Charms. And I was very paranoid about the box. And I realized I was being irrational. But I gotta tell you people, this is real. I think today really drives it home when you experience that kind of resistance to come in contact with people. And when you look at the ratio of like infected to the amount of people that live in China, it's not insane. But if you look at how quickly this virus is spreading, how quickly it's killing, the fact that it can be in you and you can be sick and you won't show signs, but you're still contagious, and you won't show sign for days. It's not like you're not going to show signs a day or 2. You don't show signs for a while, and you can be coming in contact with people constantly and spreading that virus and not knowing it. And it's a scary thought. But just keep us in prayer here in China. I thought again about just going home. You can still get flights. The chance of your flight being canceled is really high, but you can still get flights. If I wanted to, I could still fly. I could fly out today. I could fly out tomorrow to LA. I could leave China right now. Like I said, I'd have to look at the provision of my pets, making sure that all my pets are cared for while I'm gone. The problem is not necessarily getting it out. The problem is getting back in. And I have a job that I need to do. And while I panic and I feel like leaving, I think part of that is just being straight up homesick. I am legitimately homesick. I felt that really bad yesterday. I had such a moment of packing it up and taking off. I looked at flights. I looked at flights a week out because I would try to get my cats out if I did anything at all. And the foster dog obviously would go back to the people. But I legitimately looked at flights. If I could take the foster dog to America with me for their family, I would do it too, but I'm rambling. And I wanted to write my mom and be like, Mom, I want to go home. Because I legitimately felt it. Like, I felt like, you know what? I need to look for a job in America. I need to do as much as I can here to get and just leave. Break contract and leave. I legitimately thought that yesterday. It's a real thing. But in truth, and I keep coming back to this, and I don't know. First of all, guys, I'm not afraid of catching this. If I catch it, I do, but I don't believe I'm going to. I believe God has got me. He's got me. And those of you that aren't believers, I don't know how you survive, because He tells me what to do. If I listen, I'm okay. That's not to say that I'm going to have nothing bad happen to me, or I'm not going to get sick. That's not what salvation is. That's not what trusting in God means. It just means no matter what. If you look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, thrown in the furnace, no matter what. That's what they said. If God wants to save us, He'll save us, but if He doesn't, He's still glorified, and He's still God, and He's still good. And not only did God save them from the fire, but Jesus stood in the fire with them. So, I don't know how you do it if you don't believe in God. I don't know how you do it. That's the only thing that keeps me here. I know I'm okay. And I know if I catch it, I'm okay. And I know if I die, I'm okay. I don't live in fear. To say that I don't feel fear, moments of fear, would be a lie. I'm human. I just don't live in it. So, I'm staying because God keeps bringing to mind. I read a book, it's back in America, I don't remember the name of it. It's talking about having a missionary heart, somewhat. Part of it was about some missionaries that ended up going into a leprosy camp in another country. So leprosy is a really bad thing, and it's still out there. I know people think it's not, but it is. I think basically with leprosy, you stop losing the nerves, like you can't feel pain, per se. So like if you burn your hand, you don't know it. And eventually, it's just really bad. And it's very, very contagious. So what they do, and what they did, and what they still do, because we don't have a cure for leprosy even now, is they put them in camps and isolate them. So basically lepers just are in leprosy camps. But this missionary went to a leprosy camp, and she was scared, and reasonably so. And when she came in contact with the person, she felt like God was like, it's okay, So she touched the person barehanded. Don't be stupid. Just listen to God, right? I'm not saying to run around and don't care. I didn't care at the beginning of this, guys. I care now. I'm not stupid. God doesn't tell us to be stupid. But God was like, it's okay, whatever. So she was interacting with this person, hugging them, holding their hand, and all this stuff. And the person started crying. This leprosy, I believe it was a woman, had gone blind, if I remember the story correctly. And she started crying, and she told the woman, I'm sorry, this still affects me. She told the woman, it's been such a long time since you've been here. But that woman had never been there. But what it was that other Christians had gone through there and done the same thing. And so she remembered what it felt like. Jesus walked with lepers and touched lepers. Not walked with them like, you know what I mean, but walked among them and touched them. So my point is, if God is telling me stay here, which I don't feel like He's telling me to leave, I really legitimately don't. Just like I felt like He was telling me don't plan a travel. Don't plan to travel during Chinese New Year. And I didn't. And I see now why. But He's not telling me to leave, and as much as I want to, He's telling me to stick it out. He told me to stay another year. I don't think He would have had me renew my contract and stay another year, because He knew this was coming. He wouldn't have had me stay if He didn't want me to stay. So I'm not saying that I can walk among this virus and not get it. I'm human, and I could catch it. But I don't live in fear. And Jesus can do anything. God can do anything. He protects missionaries amongst leprosy. I mean, He's God. We need to be praying for China. We haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be, I think, this week that we're going to see the explosion of it. The crazy thing is, the people traveled to certain parts of China and out for this Chinese New Year. The timing of this is really unfortunate. And then a lot of people just travel. And we see that. We see anytime we watch a movie about a plague or an outbreak or a virus, it always spreads through the airports, through the travel of people who catch it and don't realize they have it. And while the death toll is almost to 600 now, but when you look at how many confirmed cases there are, how many recoveries, the ratio is good. But that's still almost 600 lives that have been lost to this virus. Each life matters. And we just want to compare and look at things and be like, oh, it's only this many, or it's only China. God loves China, people. He does. He loves these people. And the people of China are exceptional people. They can be so kind, and when you see them like enjoying themselves and laughing, and you know, these kids that I work with are amazing. They're so smart. I was thinking about it today. I mean, I knew about the SARS virus, but I lived in America and it didn't affect us as much. It was the same basic thing here. The bird flu, we knew about that. Didn't really affect you that much. Living in it, and I'm not even in like the hot spots. I'm not in Wuhan. But living it, it's completely different. So, just be praying for me. Be praying for China. Pray for the rest of the world, because this thing is out there. It's not just here. And like I said in my other video, if you want to help see where the greatest need is for medical supplies and using an appropriate channel, see how you can get some medical supplies to these people that need it. Support to Wuhan especially. But that's my update. Today is Saturday, February, what is it, 8th? Let me look at my watch. Yep, February 8th. My dates are way off, guys. When I don't work, like, I don't even know what day it is.
So my friend Brittany shared a post, and it says, God is telling you today to be still.
God bless you.
Stop stressing yourself on what is going on, and stop figuring it out with your own understanding. God is saying, leave that to me to handle. I just feel like God is saying to just lean on him and trust in him. So let's just keep China in our prayers. And thank you so much for praying for me. God bless.